Okay, so today we're looking at the SciAps Z200C+ for doing low residual or qualifying low residual materials for API 751. That's verification materials for hydrofluoric alkylation units in refineries. Got a couple of samples. I'm going to take you through a quick overview of the instrument and then shoot a couple samples and take it from there. So first off, a quick look at the instrument. This is, like I said, the SciAps Z200C+. It is a handheld LIBS analyzer with an onboard argon purge system. Everything on the system is standalone, so you don't need any sort of external connections or Wi-Fi connections in order to run any of your testing. The entire system here is Android-based, so that means everything's app-based. Should be very familiar and easy for your operators to pick up and run with. So to just hop right into the low res application here, we're screening carbon steel to make sure that it has chrome, nickel, copper, niobium, vanadium, and of course carbon content, which is the big part of the Z200C+. The big game changer there is the carbon value. So we're going to look at those 6 elements primarily, and we have a lot of great formulas on the instrument for doing quick checks. Really, the goal here is to make it as easy as possible for the operator. So let's grab a sample here real quick first. This is a really good example of a low res material. So I'm just going to throw it up, tap the trigger once, and from there the system's going to take care of itself. It's going to run a pre-burn. That's to do any additional cleaning that we need on the surface after we've done our sample prep. And then it's going to run a series of averages here. And what it's going to do is going to tell me what my carbon content and all my alloying elements are as they're measured. So I can look at it and say, my data looks good, I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that everything on the screen is looking what I would expect it to be. If I saw one carbon number that was way higher because I moved the sample or something like that, I could just reject it out of the average. In this case, my data looks really good, so I'm going to go ahead and hit complete. We can take a look at this real quick here. So you can see carbon content is below that 0.18 threshold that we need for API 751. As we look down this, it's going to give us our residual elements, so it's automatically calculating that chrome, nickel, copper, or in this case, that nickel copper aggregate. But as we scroll down, we're coming in chrome at 0.04, copper 0.37, niobium 0.03. The LIBS, niobium's a tough one to test, but we really can get down to that 0.02, 0.01 kind of number, so we're pretty happy with all of that. And then vanadium is shown as a non-detect, and that's pretty accurate for this sample. Okay, so after that result, we're going to take a step back and we're going to walk through the full procedure. So after I boot up my instrument, I'm going to give it 5-10 minutes to warm up. I'm going to prep my sample. I'm going to shoot a validation sample, make sure my performance looks good, and then once my performance looks good, prep my actual target sample and run with it. So in this case, we're going to use a piece of transmission pipeline. Get on my PPE here real quick. And we're going to go ahead and grind the sample. Getting a good grind on the material is just absolutely critical for getting a good result, but it's really not that hard to do and pretty easy to take care of in the field. So after I've ground that, I can take my instrument. Again, just hold it up nice and flush to the nose, tap the trigger and release, and it'll run through that whole automated procedure for me. So we've got our data, go ahead and hit complete here and we can take a look at the results. So again, we've got our carbon content, our residual elements, and then the full elemental readout. And again, chemistry is looking pretty good for this particular sample. Get our nice low nickel, copper and chrome on the sample are particularly high, and then niobium, no niobium in the sample. So that's a quick look at at using the Z200C+ for low residuals at API 751 application. If you want to get more information on it, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can definitely give you guys a full demo in person or online.